again. All right, guys, good morning and welcome to the Sports Buffet on Elegbete TV Radio. My name is Idafi Matthew. As you're going to love to call me the Elegbete on the Sports. It's the Friday edition, and on Fridays, you know how it is, everything and anything goes. I think I've set the internet on fire with my attack on Nike, and the reaction, if I tell you, it's as expected. Some people just would come for you for no reason without even understanding the fact of the matter. They would just attack you. I got that. And some people would jump on your back just because it sounds right. I got that. And some people will call and try to find the fact. I also got that. But then the beautiful thing is the amount of lawyers that have called me to say, you know what, Daffy, I think you have a case here. We should do this. So people are already willing to do it pro bono for me, which I say thank you. Thank you to Barrister Franklin, my query brother, and a host of his friends and everybody. We're just starting. All right. Well, once again, my name is Idafi Matthews. You're going to love to come with a little bit on the sports. Today, let's talk about the Bedlam. Oh, Jesus Christ. What happened at the bridge? It was. I don't know how to describe it, but that's football. So for the neutrals, leave all these bantering on Man United and Chelsea conceding goals like goals are going out of fashion. Let's just enjoy football. That was beautiful football. That was the kind of football we grew up loving. That's the reason why most of us became football fans. You know, one team take a 2-goal lead, another team come from behind and they make it 3-2, and then there was last minute goal. Jeez, oh, what a rush. In the words of Judge, Mighty Judge, what a rush. That was a game. That was a game that you can use the phrase "what a rush," and it really feels it. And it was a game for the young minds. Anthony's cross to Ganacho and Ganacho's way to find a wiggle room, a little wiggle room to touch that ball, and the ball ricocheted into the net was beautiful. And okay, I mean, he scored two penalties, but that last goal, that's not a penalty. There was deflection. It was a night where luck smiled on him. You know, when we are growing up, there's this song that they used to sing in church. God has smiled on me, has set me free, blah, 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 blah. I don't know how to sing, so don't expect me to sing. Mhm. You know, it was one of those kind of nights where that was the song that fits the family of Kopama. Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm not really a fan of Kopama, but hey, the young man, Shada Bragadas. Oh, Zagadat, man. That was good performance, and there was a whole lot of mistake as well. Let's not forget that there was a whole lot of mistake. There was a whole lot of misplaced passes. There was a whole lot of insulting. Even on the match ball, somebody has spotted that somebody insulted Cole Palmer, you know, shit player, something like that was written on it. Nobody know who did that, but hey, it is what it is. The result says Chelsea 4, Manchester United 3, but that's not the real thing, okay? The real thing is no matter what happened in that game, the league table, let's not forget that Liverpool beat Sheffield United 3 goals to 1. Not a big deal. I mean, come on, let's be very honest here. That's not a big deal. Liverpool are back to the top. 3 teams in the top half of the league table, first, second, third, have played 30 games. 2 have won 21 games, and the other one, Manchester City, have won 20. So we're back to 70, 70, 68, 67. Okay, so those are the points that are separating these teams. Liverpool are gradually trying to outscore Arsenal. So Arsenal need to put that. That's why the Luton Town game, I was a bit, taken about like, okay, it was just 2-0. I mean, Arsenal needed to score more because it might come down to goal difference. It might come down to goal difference. If it is head to head, obviously, I don't think head to head still exists in football. It might come down to goal difference, and you don't want to get there after 20 years of waiting and you lose this title on goal difference. Like in 2012, Manchester United, and Man City winning the title, the last kick of the game, Aguero, you remember that one. So when you look at the league table, whoever is advising as an Arsenal team, Mikel Arteta and his players, they should start scoring a lot of goals. Okay, Man City have scored 67 goals this season, 29 goals conceded, which is one more than what Liverpool have conceded. But Liverpool, on the other hand, have scored 70 goals, conceded 28. Arsenal have scored 72 goals and conceded 24. Least goals conceded, most goals scored. But that one is not a safe place. They need to score more. And then they need to also try the remaining 8 games. They should try not to lose them. Okay, in the last 2 games, last 3 games they've drawn. I mean, the last 5 games, sorry, they've won 4 and drawn 1, just the same as Liverpool. But they need to put up the win. I think that somewhere, I don't know, but I just think that somewhere Liverpool is going to crack. Not necessarily lose. They might draw, and it might just be the next game. This one that Manchester United have lost, but hey, it is what it is. This might happen, and Arsenal should be ready to take. I think Arsenal's next game is Brighton, late game on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Arsenal is playing. Saturday is it Saturday or Sunday? Sorry. So I'm coming. Okay, so on Saturday, Arsenal go to Brighton. That's a very critical, like tough game. Arsenal needs to be careful on that one. But what is sweet is the fact that okay, so let's take it for granted. This is how it's going to be. By 12:30, Crystal Palace hosts Man City. Crystal Palace normally is a boogie team for Man City, but this current Crystal Palace cannot boogie anybody, so there's no boogie down. Okay, so taking for granted, Man City wins that one, so they go up as number one team from 68 points. They will go to 71 points. That's 1 point above Liverpool, who's on 70 right now, if my memory serves me right, and what's it called? Yeah, they are 70. So Man City will be joint top. Sorry, they will not go to 61. It's 71. They will go to 70 because they're on 67 points. So they'll go to 70. And they could still not be top, depending on the number of goals they score. So they need to score 5 goals, 5 unreplied goals to go top on the day. Like if they win that game, 5 goals to nothing, they'll be top on goal difference, right? But having said that, Arsenal will not play later against Brighton. That's the game that they need to win, because they win that game, they go top, and then waiting for what happens, Man United and Liverpool the next day. The next day, Manchester United host Liverpool. This is one of those games where you say to yourself, you know what, on a norm, Manchester United should play for their pride. But you see, Manchester United are a team that you cannot bank on. So when Eric Ten Hag comes out and tell me, oh, there's a process, they should trust the process, I'm like, okay, what's really the process? Because the only process I see is Garnacho, and Garnacho alone cannot be a process. Okay, I'm sorry. Garnacho alone, but let's go back and look at the squad for yesterday. And before, I mean, people get angry, when you're a fan of club, you don't want anybody trashing your club or saying things. I'm not trashing them, but I'm just saying this is what I feel. I might be wrong, but when I look at the Man United team, I always say to myself, where really is okay? So Onana considered a lot of goals this season, but I mean, I'm not going to sit where I am and I say that I'm going to blame Ole Onana, because the amount of shots that he has have to face as well, compared to the goals he's considered, you would say that the entire team is not doing well. So you have Garnacho, who's a young player. You have Højlund, who's a young player. Anthony, who's also supposed to be a young player. In real sense, when I look at Anthony, I say to myself, one of our community member said something that made sense in his comment on the content that it wasn't yesterday's live. I don't know, but it was him who came out and said something when we're talking about what's his name? We're talking about it's Bobby. Okay, Bobby Okigwe said something that I kind of like resonate with, that I love. His understanding of the game is just beautiful. Bobby Okigwe said that the thing with Eric Ten Hag is that Eric Ten Hag wants to play possession-based football. That's his philosophy. That's the Pep Guardiola style of football. But he's got players who believe in counter-attacking football. So we defend, we soak the pressure, keep the ball wide, we run, we cross the ball, somebody meets it and score. But unfortunately, it's like, how do I put it now? It's that thing I said about frequency. So you have a swing, a pendulum that runs on 50 gigahertz, and then there's another one that reconnects it that runs on 75 gigahertz. You know that the two of them cannot align because they are not running on the same frequency. So from that explanation, which I completely agree with and I jump on, it's it's in law they call it interregnum, right? When two things are not supposed to meet. Okay, it's water and oil, of kerosene and oil. They are not supposed to meet, even though they are liquid. So uh, Eric Ten Hag wants possession-based football, which is supposed to be good, which is not supposed to be a problem. And then you look at the squad that he's got, and you say to yourself, "But this man should be able to achieve this with the players he's got." But then again, he keep trying it and it's not working. Ganacho wants to run. Anthony wants to run, but he's a very good player at keeping the ball. Casemiro is aging now, so we can forgive him. Mino, is it Mino? Yeah, Mino, Ganacho, Hoyland, Anthony, Dalot. You could still keep Wan Bissaka there. These are players that should be able to form the nucleus of the future Manchester United team. Also put Andre Nana there. I'm not going to be among those people who think that Andre Nana should be kicked out. It's just now the core of these players: Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro. I'm sorry, Casemiro, that I'm saying this, but I think you gave all your all to Real Madrid. What you're doing here is just pension football you're playing. Rafa Varane too. I think you give your all to Real Madrid. What you're doing at Manchester United is collecting pension money. Maguire, you have no business being in this team. I think all of these guys should go, and then add Rashford to it. Add Wan Bissaka. I think is a good defender. People say that it's not good at going forward, and so sometimes it bothers me. The reason why it bothers me is Trent Alexander-Arnold is very good at going forward. People say he's not good at defending. So I mean, I need to understand what people really want in the player. So I will still keep Wan Bissaka. I mean, if you disagree, you can disagree, but for as long as you're not insulting anybody, it's fine. But I think that I will let Maguire go. I'll let Varane go. I'll let Casemiro go. I'll let Bruno Fernandes go. He's a captain, but I mean, not like he's a bad player, but I just think that these are part of the people who are the problem of the team. I'll let them go, cut them loose, cut Rashford loose, cut Anthony Martial loose, and then I'll see what we can do. Now the big question is: does Manchester United have? I'll still keep Missy Mount. I'll keep McTominay. That Kambuala guy. I don't know. I don't know. Uh, I don't know, John Evans will go too. I'll let him go because not because I don't like them or because I don't have use for them, but I just think it's time for them to go. Okay, move them on and then continue. That's what I think. I think once that is done, and then players who are possession based come on, maybe just maybe we might see a different Manchester United and the system will be different. This is just my thoughts. I might be wrong, and I'm not 100% on this one. These are my thoughts, and you can share your thoughts as well. But that there is a different feeling in different places. Okay, so let's go back to the tweet that I made. I did a very short thread on the contract. Okay, the contract that the Nigerian national team have, the contract that the Super Eagles, the NFF have with Nike. Okay, and the contract for me, it's not new, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh, I just discovered. I've been following the contract from day one. It's been 10 years now since that contract, came up, and I've been following it seriously. I started picking interest in it 1 year into the contract. So for the last 9 years, I've been following the contract, but I've been looking for the document. I wanted to have the document in my hand so that I can build on that and then start my conversation around that. And I've reached out to everybody that I need to reach out to. So I explain this thing clearly to people. Some people say I'm looking for attention. And I'm like, if I'm looking for attention, I go do one for YouTube because that's where money is. No matter how much engagement I get. Okay, so over 500,000 engagement on that single tweet already, but it doesn't benefit me. If I put out a video that get over 500,000 currently, I know what that means. That means what that means to me. I already know, like, if by $500 go down join my account. 681K engagement on that small thread about on my dear Nike thread, and everybody have had their own say. Everybody have had their own opinion. And I was saying yesterday that I wish I have 600 and something views on the video of Dukudi when it shared the story of what happened when they didn't go to the Nations Cup in 1996. I hope I have that kind of views and engagement and comments. I mean, the comment on the comment on that tweet, like, okay, shoot, that's so una they follow me rich. I mean, if you consider the fact that it was I put out that tweet in a period where Bobrisky is trending, where Very Dark Man is putting pepper in Bobrisky eye from wherever. Now we know that Bobrisky is a man. His name is Na Idris again. He's not, I think that Bobrisky case, I don't want to talk about it, but when Bobrisky is free, he's a woman. But whenever he's arrested or he have issues, it becomes Idris. Bobrisky would, God will have to judge two people in his time. Oh. It's time to judge. He will judge Bobrisky, the famous guy. And then when it's time to, I don't know, they will not judge Idris. What did you do with your life, the life that you're giving? But I think God will also have to appreciate him for creating two people in one. It's not easy, it's not easy. What he does is not easy. It's just that he's not a role model for anybody that I don't want him to be a role model for anybody that I know. Right. But let's move away from that one. Look at some of the headlines and all the talking points that came off. All the talking point came off the different talk. But then there's this proposal in England that they should have the luxury tax in England instead of point deduction. I'm going to take you into something that we used to talk about in the MPFA. Remember back in the MPFA, we used to say Nigerian League. It wasn't the MPFA, it was the MPL back in the day. Nigerian League, we used to say that one of the worst things that happened in Nigerian football is that there is so much boardroom point, point deduction, point addition, blah, 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 and all that. But hey, it's happening in England. You know the funny thing about football, some things that would happen in Africa that people will go crazy, people will shout and complain. That same thing will happen abroad, and they will just feel like, okay, it's not my, it's okay. They would find a reason to justify it, they would explain it. Everybody will become all of a sudden highly educated, highly informed, highly analytical, give you 1,001 reason why that is the right thing to do, why this is this, why that. Just like, okay, really, that's the way it works. Well, whatever we decide to say or do, it's not a problem. But hey, they are proposing that instead of point deduction, which make the league look bad. And I'm going to play a voice from, I'll flash back to 2015 when I was still in radio. One of the shows that I did, one of the decisions, one of the most outrageously ridiculous decision I was taking that day on the show. I remember I was in shock when I heard it, but I mean, the person who said he's my friend, but I said Ike Bokwe at the time. And the thing about laws is you don't know how laws work until they have to interpret it to you. And I was like, okay, so this is possible. What was that? In 2015, Nasarawa United and Giwa FC. I don't know if you guys remember Giwa FC. That club that was doing well, that was doing absolutely well until the owner decided that he wants to join football politics. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to play the voice. I'm going to play, and then I will explain as we go, so that you guys can understand where I'm coming from on this subject. Okay. It's just what do I call it now? Is in law, what do they call it? Is reference. It's just a reference. It's not necessarily that it is important on the conversation, but it's just a reference. Like, let's have a reference point on it. Okay. And I'm going to explain something with it. Okay. So let me give you guys, for context sake, let me give you guys the background. So this game that was going on, Nasarawa United versus Giwa FC, and in the 77th minute or so, around there about, Giwa FC decided, when 2 goes down, Giwa FC decided to walk out of the game in protest. And what was their reason? They said the referee was unjustly biased against them. Okay, referee that does not have, this was 2015, a referee that does not have about 9 years ago now, that does not have VAR, that does not have anything, but 2 legitimate goals were scored in the game, but then they walked out of the game and said that they were being unjustly treated. The officiating was biased towards them. Okay, so they walked out, right? Let me say, this is not the decision of the O&D. In case you don't know what the O&D means, is Organizing and Disciplinary Committee.
As Katakata come out from the match, we don't look the match. We say, make them go replay that match again for Lafia under closed doors. But the result of the match, which at that time be 2-0 for Nasarawa, go uphold. Then the referee wey Giwa FC don complain say no be their friend, say na their enemy number one. We don talk say that referee make NFF change am, so that make this my committee dey sure say the three teams wey dey go represent Nigeria for continent next season na the three teams wey merit to represent Nigeria on the field of play. We give 72 hours for them to replay the match. They will start from 34 minutes where the match stop, because you know say CAF don dey ask for countries to bring the three teams wey go represent them for CAF competition next season. So we no wan delay, make the no go comot one team from Nigeria, that is CAF. Make CAF no go comot one of our team because of all this problem. So we don order say make them replay the match within 72 hours.
All right, so I guess I'm the one who got it bad. It was 32 minutes of the game that was on, and I had to go dig and bring this. And there's a reason why I brought it back. That time when that decision was taken between me and you needed to see the outrage of people, the reaction. Then recently, and that time we're having a lot of point deduction. You will hear that this team do this one, this point have been deducted, and sometimes they keep it to the end of the season and then they deduct the point, and then you see your team was on top of the table and then all of a sudden they are done and everybody complain. But then this happens now. Nottingham Forest and Everton have had their point deducted this season. What the difference is that it is a swift decision, is quickly done. But when you consider the fact that for years now, Man City have been facing 115 points, 15 count charges that we do not know the head and the tail, it does look again like the rich have a way of always escaping punishment and the poor have a way of always suffering. Let's not forget that recently, okay, and I'm going to be dragging some of these things up so that when we are judging matters about Nigerians too, we should also by one word or the other try to consider that this is also happening in other places and it is not just exclusive to us. So let me give you another one that I saw that is funny. Former Tottenham owner Joe Louis, remember this guy? Very, very popular guy back in the day. If you follow football back in the day, he avoided jail term as he is sentenced to 3 years probation and handed a $5 million fine in insider trading case. Hold on. I was like, what's that got to do with the conversation? So the other day I saw Omar Katuba, my younger brother, posted that when Bobrisky was arrested for abusing the Naira, and he said, what other people, rich people are doing it, they are not catching them. Why this one? And I remember I commented on that. Did he commit a crime? It's not about, okay, other people do this or other people don't do it. I remember when Darie, the governor of Plateau State, when they discovered that he had misappropriated a lot of state fund and he was being arrested by Ribadu that time, no Ribadu, the AFCC chairman. And I posted something on Facebook. I remember this very well because it got me confused that not only arrest, he should be tried and jailed if found guilty. The comment section, I saw people commenting, what of you, governor of your state? Or you that playboy in Port Harcourt, can you say that Peter Dele is not a criminal? You are from Delta State, can you say Boris is not a criminal? When I paused, and then all the comments were coming, and then all your South governor, have they jailed all of them? And I was like, okay, wait a minute. These are supposed to be the people who are suffering as a result of this guy stealing their money, right? And now they are defending it. And the same thing happened with Akume, George Akume of Benue State, similar situation. And I got the same backlash. So I'm wondering, like, okay, what's really going on here? Do we really want a country where laws are broken and nobody, okay, is it that we are happy that rich people are able to break the law? So what we want is not a country where rich people are sent to jail for breaking the law, but that the rules should be relaxed so that even the poor can also afford to break the law. That's one of my take home from that. Now let's come back to football. I just wanted to bring that parallel in, and then now let's come back to football. So there is a conversation around luxury tax in the Premier League. So the 20 clubs in the Premier League had a meeting, and they were like, okay, instead of point deduction for overspending, spending above your earnings, why not create a system whereby there will be fines? So say for instance, your business make a profit of 100 million and you spend 200 million, you should be fined instead of deducting point that it's not necessary. That's the conversation. Now let me tell you, I can't read the whole body of the of the message of the conversation, but there's something that I want to read. A competition where anyone who has the cash to make the dreams of long suffering supporters come true is stopped in their tracks. What does that mean? Let me give you background to that. So they don't want the league to be a league where, look at Newcastle now. Rich people came in, but because they are not a profitable business, they've not been able to sign players the way they want to sign them. If they do that, they'll be punished, and they don't want that. So they're saying, no, we should be allowed to spend our money. It's our money, who owns it, allow us to spend it. So the luxury tax idea revealed by Mail Sports today, where clubs can spend what they want and pay fines if they overspend, would allow those outside the big six to have those dreams. And should it be aligned with the ultimate threat of a point deduction to stop those for whom money is no object from further distorting the playing field, it could work. Okay, now let's go further down to one of the biggest people who was affected when Everton and Forest were deducted points. Okay, let me show you a story. Sorry, I'm coming. Sorry. There is always okay. It remains to be seen where these impasse leave the so-called New Deal and an agreement on financial redistribution to the EFL clubs. Some believe the situation is preposterous, and in a free market capitalist country, it is hard to disagree. The stance is becoming more bullish as time passes, as Mail Sports, reveal. Now the thing is, I'm asking this question: should club be allowed to spend? I mean, so far, let me get my money. I should spend as much as I want to spend. It's my money. It's not your money. It's not your business. You shouldn't be the one who decide how I spend my money. Again, why should you be putting restriction on me? Okay, so I'm running the business at a loss. I eventually will make gains. So there is no need trying to control my money when the money is actually my money. That's the way some people see it right now, and that's the kind of question that I'm looking at. Would you want a league where anybody can spend the way they want to spend? Okay, okay. So look at this situation. Let me give you a very good example. For instance, Forest and Everton are not the only ones hurting. A chairman of a cash-strapped EFL club disclosed. They didn't mention the team or the name of the chairman. They had a top flight team lined up to buy one of their best young players. The fee had been agreed, and the cash would have gone a long way towards them being able to see out their season without financial fears. But when news of Everton's point deduction landed, the offer was taken off the table. The buying club were spooked, and the EFL club would have to find another way of making it to the finish line. Bravo. Right. Now, there are so many things in football that sometimes when you say it, you're like, what are you saying? One of the things that I've constantly said about football is that football is not as profitable a business as a lot of people think. Football, if you want to go into football business, especially at the highest level, it's not as profitable as people think. But if you are doing football business at academy level, it's easily profitable. You could invest, spend money for the first 5, 6, 7 years. And then after that, once you create the link between where your players are and European clubs that you can send your players to, then profit is 90% guaranteed. But you see, all these, like Sporting Lagos, Remo Stars. No, Remo Stars have created the pyramid and is working well because they have an academy that can sell players and then they can use the money in turn to run Remo Stars. But you see all this Enyimba can run for another 100 years the way it is structured. Enyimba will not make a single profit a day. Now, it's not Enyimba's fault, too, because a lot of people don't know that. There was a conversation around Vendresa the other day, and I reminded my friend Bayo. I said, Bayo, Remember when this team came to Lagos and they were making noise all over the place? And Bayo called me and said, guy, why don't you align yourself with this team? And I said to them that this team will pack up in a few years' time. This project does not have a plan, it doesn't have a purpose. They don't know what they're doing. The man is going to spend money once he hits that 1 billion. No matter how rich you are, once you spend money up to 1 billion, one B, one B, one B, one B. Once you hit 1 billion in spending, let me give you a good example of clubs that have hit 1 billion and pack up. Giwa FC hit 1 billion, the pack up. Ikorodu United hit 1 billion and packed up. Stars hit almost got to that level too. They packed up and they are trying to come back again. And there are a lot of clubs like that. FC Abuja, Supreme FC, Globestar Football Club, which I was part of as well. There's a club in Port Harcourt, I've forgotten their name now. They were the first people that approached me to buy my club from me. Oh God, I've forgotten their name. They used to be, their office used to be around that Forces Avenue. Ila United, Shaki, FC Shaki, Shaki FC. All of these clubs, you hit that point. And the reason for it is because no matter how much, that parable they say that if one man cook for community, the food no go rich. But if the community, no matter how poor they are, if they cook for one man, you go shop die. No matter how poor that community is, that's the parable that defines football. So this is maybe it's a conversation for those people who are saying, I want to go into football business. Football, there's so much money in it. And I always tell people, don't go into it because there's so much money in it. It takes years for it. Football is like planting an acorn seed. You know that oak tree is a commercially viable tree, right? Or planting a palm fruit. You know that palm trees are commercially viable, but are you going to be willing to wait 10, 15, 18, 20, 22 years for that tree, that seed to grow from oak seed or palm fruit to the tree that will now become productive? If you're not, stay away. Back to the question somebody asked me. Somebody said, hello, Idafe. What do you stand to gain with this your battle against Nike? After all, the deal was signed by people and they have their legal team and marketing people to read that document before they signed it. Why are you fighting Nike when you should be fighting your Nigerian people? Well, that's a very good one. And that comes from Adewale. So, first of all, he's a Nigerian. The number with which he sent that message is also a Nigerian number. So, let me educate this person a little bit. When Ericsson and Halliburton came to Nigeria and signed a deal, legitimate deal, right? Government, they look at it, it was real legal deal. And they were found to have bribed their way through. Government decided to prosecute them here in Nigeria and abroad. Why did you people not come out and say, oh, but these people have a legitimate contract? That's one. Brazil have had a contract with Nike for over 20 years. Recently, 2022, 2 years ago, the current Brazilian FA president decided that the deal is not good. Remember that for many years, Brazil was the highest earning national team in terms of kids sponsorship anywhere in the world, right? But recently, they get 25.6 million every year, $25.6 million every year. But now the Brazilian FA president, the new one, says that deal is not good. The deal still have, when he said it in 2022, the deal still have 4 years to run. Now, there is a clause in that contract that says that Brazil will be Nike property for life. It's a for life kind of deal. But the man decided we have to renegotiate. On that deal, Nike does not give Brazil a dime from the sales, from merchandising. Everything they make from sales goes to Nike directly. The man have come out to say, we have to renegotiate this deal. Why did anybody not say, but they signed a deal now, they have a contract, the contract is done? In case you people don't know, I taught in a university some time ago. And I was an associate lecturer in a university and I taught company law. Maybe some of you people don't know that part of my life. So because maybe stick to football, you don't know anything about contract. Stick to football. I played professional football for years. Is that not a contracting? I taught contract law, and some of my students have turned out to be very, 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 very good. Okay, so let's go to contract. Any contract, no matter how legally binding as it is, can be void. Yes, it can be voided by any reason of law. You can void it. Again, it can also be renegotiated. That's why you see in a club where a player signs for a team for 5 or 6 years, and all of a sudden his performance is rocketing, and the contract is got before, maybe it's not commensurate, and the club realize that if we leave this guy like this, another person will come and buy these players off also. They'll say, okay, let's renegotiate your contract, and then on Apple maybe 1 year or 2 years on top. Why are they doing that? So it might be that at the time they entered into that contract, uh, the projections were in alliance with the current reality of that contract. But now performance had grown the projection. At that point, you cannot say, oh, there's not good faith in this contract. Oh. I think that we can, for continuous relationship, for us to keep this relationship going forward, we can renegotiate it. And that's exactly why what I'm calling for. First off, I've not even got to the point where I'm suing Nike. I will do that. I beat my chest and I say, I go sue Nike. That will not be like, I'm not even thinking of it, but you have to give people time. I go court. Not be if we go fix this Nigeria, people individuals need to agree to say they go even like they want to suffer sometimes because we're already suffering. And to fix a country, you can only fix things in your sphere of influence. I cannot go and fix healthcare. It's not something I can do. The ones that I can do, for instance, I fought for the separation of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. It happened. I can do that because it's my sphere of influence, and I know the A to Z of it, and it worked. This one is another fight. It's not gonna go first. No, let's try and see if Nike will look and say, okay, this guy is stirring up a storm. Oh, this storm might sweep us out. This one that we have taken, because I'm looking at the calculation. Nike is smart. Nike should know that Nigeria is one of the biggest country in Africa, even though we fool ourselves by the performance we put up with our recalcitrant and very idiotic players. They go get sense eventually. But if you look at it carefully, this is the tsunami. Nike has systematically cut off Adidas from Europe. They are base. Nike did the unthinkable. Nike went to Germany and cut Adidas off. Adidas is going to go back and say, okay, what can we do to mess with Nike? We obviously can't go get the US national team, but we can approach Brazil. We can approach Nigeria. We can approach some of the major England. We can approach some of the major countries in Europe that they are doing business with and cut them out. So those are possibilities that can happen. I'm just creating the scenarios in my head. So the storm that I'm creating, it's not ill time. It's perfectly timed. I don't have affiliation with any of the kit companies and all that. But one of the things that I know is that the storm, when it starts, there is always somebody that will benefit. When you start a war, all of a sudden the companies that are manufacturing weapons will benefit, right? Like the war, Russia, Ukraine. The Americans, the industrial complex are benefiting from the war. When the war is over, construction companies will benefit because they have to rebuild your infrastructures that have been destroyed. They didn't send you to go to war. So it's always like this whole fight. If the first drop of the water is already hitting somebody who have less than 7,000 followers on Twitter, makes a first tweet, and you have over 500 million engagement, then you should take that very, very serious. And the campaign is going to run for long. Okay. One of the achievements right now is the fact that I've already seen lawyers who are ready to go to war with me, which is fine. Okay. And I've also seen a group of people who think I'm an idiot who's running a fool's errand. Let me remind you guys that when Bosman decided to go to court against Anderlecht to fight that a player whose contract has expired should not be owned by the club for which he played for, people thought he was running a fool's errand. As a matter of fact, even professional players were insulting him. They all gang up against him. He won the case. No club agreed to sign him. Every club cut their hands off him that he's a bad person. He came to destroy the industry. But this June or July, Mbappe will sign for Real Madrid on a free. and will make a colossal amount of money as a sign-on bonus without Paris Saint-Germain getting a dime. That wouldn't have been able to happen if somebody called Bosman did not make a fool of himself, in quote unquote now, full of himself in the eyes of the world, and fight a fight that have not turned into what a lot of people are benefiting from. We can talk all the talk we want to talk. We can grumble all the grumble we want to grumble. We can argue all the argue we want to argue. But the truth is, at some point, you will sit where you are. And like I always say, that when I'm on that rocking chair, when I'm old, when I'm rocking myself like this back and forth, and my grandchildren, who will be a million times more intelligent than I am now, in the next, my daughter is 9 years, my daughter is going to be 10 in next month, my son is going to be 12 next month. So plus or minus another 20-25 years, all these guys would have kids, and another 30 years, 35 years, the kids will be big enough to ask me questions. So grandpa, what did you do? You see that question? That question is the most difficult question to answer if you have lived your life not doing anything. So grandpa, what did you do then in your time? What did you do? And then you now be looking for lie to lie, stammer to my grandchild, and you start stuttering. I don't want to be that. I don't know. No, I don't want to be that. I want to be able to say, in my time, there was a year 2016 when Nigeria won the bronze medal. Your grandpa was responsible for it. There was a time when Nike was taking us as a slave. Your grandpa was responsible for changing the narrative. There was a time when the Ministry of Sports and Youth were together. Your grandpa was responsible for setting them apart. Now we went to the African Cup of Nations for the very first time. As Nations Cup, the end, everybody collected their money. Remember in 2019. So the difference that some little small changes can make, even in a bad country. In 2019, when we went to the Nations Cup and we won bronze medal, we got to the way to the semifinals and won bronze medal, the money that was released under dialogue that time did not get to the team until 3 years after. Okay? Yeah, because when they released that money, they had to focus on the youth side of the conversation before they now came back. Johnny Gaffer, what are you deleting? I thought I wanted to read your message now. All of a sudden, you don't delete it. Okay, maybe you're going to type something else. Right? So, fixing a country is a country as complex as Nigeria is a very difficult job, but people need to be willing to say we will go. And then not every time somebody posts something, your reaction should be, even if you disagree with the person, you can put your comment. It's not enough. I think that people who just go out there to insult people when they see comments, especially when they don't tag you, they don't mention you, you should, I consider it people who have problem with themselves. Like my mom would say, people who don't love themselves cannot love others. People who have problem with themselves. So let me look at your comment. It's 41 minutes gone on the show. Sena Tonato says, patiently waiting for 9 a.m. This was way before we started. Why do we have only 2 comments today? What's happening? We have like 20 people viewing. We have 18 people who have clicked the like. I don't know whether to click like the offend on a show. And then we have only 2 comments. That's strange. Very, very strange. Oluwaseyi Adebowale say that was a real Johnny Gaffer, thank you very much. That was a real mid-off. Both teams couldn't control any part of the game. Interesting to watch, but when deeply analyzed, it shows why Chelsea and Man U are where they are on the table. I agree 100%. I cannot even disagree. And then Oluwaseyi went on to say, as a Chelsea fan, I'm happy we finally have a player that can single-handedly win us games since Eden Hazard. Is just a pity he's part of an horrible team. And Johnny Gaffaro gave us £5 or £4.99. Says Pinnick described the new deal to end in 2026, the best any African country has ever had with Nike. The terms of the deal are non-disclosed. Well, I have the terms of the deal here. I have the contract. Yeah, I have the contract. When he said it then, remember, go back. I remember back then, people said, Naso, this is what they used to describe me. Naso worry people they do. They like to pull their own down. Remember, I used the word Amaju is stupid for saying that. People went, and I said, listen, How much is the NFF president? Nobody, apart from maybe his wife, his family members, and his children, and maybe his girlfriend. Nobody in the Nigerian sporting media is closer to Amaju than I am. At the time I made that statement, that was 9 years ago. And everybody was coming at me, Vincent Okumagba, this one, some top editors, like, you shouldn't be doing that. You cannot say that. I say, listen, this is a stupid deal. I agree that it was back to the war. It was under pressure. Nigeria wanted to go and buy jersey. They say the jersey, to buy that jersey to play a game was $45,000, blah, blah, blah. There were some middlemen that were involved. I agree. I understand all that story. But to sign that deal at the time we signed it, and there was no clause, and first off, it took years for us to even wrestle to even know the terms of the deal. Nobody know the terms of the deal. It took me time. I kept pursuing, and then when I now signed up to do the NFF documentary, I remember it now became very difficult because I keep pushing for the contract of the Nike deal, and every time they say, but you're not part of us. I say, no, I'm not part of you. I'm doing business. I'm paying you I've already paid you for this business. So I'm not part of you, part of you. I'm here to do a business. And it's a business that I might lost. Me and my partner, we ended up losing $375,000. So it's not sometimes when I sit, I was like, man, I've not there yet. I've not really there yet, to be very honest. Maybe somebody else not going to do this show. I've not really there yet. But sometimes life deals the card differently or rolls the wheel differently. And people are like, oh no, you cannot be attacking Amaju. Amaju your guy. Yes, I said, no, we have over 35 years together. I've known Amaju since I was 7. We live like 2 streets away from each other, grow up together, know each other very well. But this is Nigeria. And I remember, like, hey, okay, you know what? Let's do. We'll make you media officer of the team. You will walk close to him. You will give him advice. I say, this is my problem. First off, I have a company that I want to run. I have my whole life that I want to live. And there's no part in that life where I am expected. I have a dream that I want to be a media officer of the national team. Can't people even dream? Why is it that the ultimate dream of a sports journalist is to be media officer of the national team? Doesn't that look childish? All of the biggest ones, they end up media officer of the national team. It's like when I had my son and he's going to be a footballer, he's going to be a footballer. I was like, wait a minute. When they pray with my son be Roman Abramovich, the person where they pay all the footballers and the backroom staff and the other staffs and the footballer, who is bigger? Why are you guys limiting? Because where they just born now, when they pray maybe footballer, which footballer? I don't understand. Is that how dumb you people can be? And people say I was rude. I was 2012 on radio. And me, I say it the way it be. Of course, I need my picking. You want to professor nonsense on my picking head. Which one be footballer? My friend, come on, get out of this place. But people didn't see then. That he's very arrogant, he's rude, he's full of himself. Well, I'm sure many people don't even pray for their children to be footballers anymore. Children know. Now tech don't do now, don't do different. But that's just the way it was at the time. And so I kept pushing. And to be very fair, I've had dealings with Nike. I don't go Nike office for Netherlands though. So not be say this is just they happen from behind the scene. No. I've been to their office. We go record. When we shoot this film, we go. Nike was even going to give us about $350,000 to put the unveiling of the jersey at the end of the movie. So it was not just like cut and dry. I'm like, guys, when I review this contract, man, this thing doesn't make sense because that's our football is suffering. And you know what they would investment for Nigeria? Now the mainstream media in Nigeria, we don't turn reporting to banter. Everything on any radio station that does sports or TV station that does sports is just banter, vibes, and inshallah. I can understand freelancers, I can understand podcasters. That one is okay. But the core professionals, everything is about banter. Even when you want to talk about European football, banter. You don't ever spend some time. I remember I was in one Twitter space, and we're talking about Nigerian football, and they just came up with corruption. I was just there. I was invited to come and observe. So I private chatted the host of the Twitter space, and I said, "Guy, I have some things to say. You people keep shouting corruption, yeah. There is no fact to this corruption charges, so this whole talk. And this thing is what I've been hearing since I was small. When I was reading Complete Sports, Complete Football, Global Football, all those newspapers. You people say corruption. What is the corruption? So I broke it down that day. Do you know how much it costs Nigeria for the Super Eagles to play one game? Because when you say corruption, what is corruption? Corruption is that, they bring money come for this purpose. Okay, so this is a phone cover, right? This Samsung phone cover costs 35 or so, right? They now bring money. There are two ways corruption can happen. They call me and ask me, how much did they sell this thing? And I said it's 10,000. Meanwhile, it's 35. Yeah. So they now give me 10,000. And I went and bought this one and brought it and provided receipt. And I took 6,500. That's not profiting. That's corruption. Another one, but that's one, at least it's on record. That's the railway line that we have. But it's on record that at least I did buy this thing. But that's corruption. Oh. Another one now, the one with this our new transportation minister don't do we go sign that MOU with one guy for UK, MDL, MHL, or whatever the company is. We need to exist. Company that does not that have not done any business want to do our railway from Lagos to Calabar. I'm not saying a new company cannot do anything. After all, I was a new company and I was trusted to do some business. But in this kind of mega business, you need to have people, companies that have experience, that have done something, reference, where you go say, okay, because you do this, now I could give you this. This is federal work, not be local government work. Now, another one, they will give me money. Say, ask me, quote for this, so I quote 10,000. So, okay, go buy 100 pieces. I'll take the money, whatever millions you give me. I go bribe a few persons. Make the, I be subsidy, that subsidy problem. Make the sign say I don't supply them. They will go disappear. Like trader money and traders money. Where Osibanjo say they give over 500 million Nigerians. Now only 200 million Nigerians. And where the people collect the trader money? I've never ever. On our way they abroad, we on a family member they always call for money. On a family member don't tell them I say they give the trader money. No. Student loan, we hope see the disburse and shall. Palliative too. We know how it ended. So that won't be that another level of corruption. So I said, no, see, it's not about me. It's about the fact that the contract is not good. Then we started saying Ghana gets 5 million or more every year from Puma, not be Nike or Puma. And England gets 100 million, if I'm not mistaken, every year. Germany is about to sign a deal that will give them over $100 million every year. They currently get 70 or so, or 50 from Adidas. Okay. Brazil gets, they used to be number one, but they are not anymore. They are number 6 or number 7 now, or number 8, but they're in the top 10, but they're in the lower rung of the top 10. So I'm saying that this deal that gives Nigeria annually Jesus Christ, even think about less than $1 million every year. And then if we qualify for a tournament, major tournament like the World Cup, you get $500,000 bonus. It doesn't make sense. I am saying Nike, review the terms of this contract, review the terms of your agreement, review the terms of your payment. I'm not even going to argue for back end payment royalties in sales. Now remember that in 2018, Nike made a killing selling Nigerian 2018 World Cup jersey at $90 per jersey. They sold 3 million pieces of that jersey. 3 million pieces of that jersey is 270 million US dollars. Now remember, that's the chef price. Some places, some people ordered, third party at 210, 115, 120. I saw the receipts. So but that's not, let's not even say that's not Nike's gain. Nike's earning was put at $90. Now, a country that makes you sell that, would you not end up reviewing the contract to fit the current status? I agree that at the time you signed up with us, we were desperate, we were shitty, we're not doing well. But remember, we just won the Nations Cup in 2013. We just gone to the Confederations Cup in that same 2013. We also just gone to the World Cup and we performed well. Okay, round of 16, but we performed well. We were not, beaten and battered like Cameroon in that 2014 World Cup. Would you not at one point say, okay, let's review this thing upward to fit the status of people around you and to measure up? Rather, again, we just went to the Nations Cup now and we got all the way to the finals. We didn't win it, but we got all the way to the finals. Aren't this enough grants for review? Well, the fight is on. I might win, I might lose, but lessons will be learned. Coyote says, I'm here to save the live and comment. I'm here to save the live and comment. 69 Football say Kopama is the man for Chelsea. But remember saying just 2 penalties. Now 2 penalties and 1 goal is score. This one they make her look like say this Kopama now. I be the Jesus that would unstop the deaf ear, wake the dead from bring the dead back to life, walk on water, turn water to wine. Mona, they careful. I say small boy. Coyotes, why so few likes and comments? Zoe TV says, well done, sir. Thank you very much. Beautiful analysis. It's nice to say, good to see Tomatoes defeats Tornadoes, sorry, defeat Insurance Administrative. Why? 3-1. The league is getting better. Obviously, it is. Johnny Gava says, Shehu Diko, good money on annual basis, more supplies, improved qualification bonus, door-to-door delivery of kits, royalty for NFL. There was zero royalty on jersey sold, and expansion to women's teams. There is zero royalty given to the NFF unless they eat the money themselves. Maybe they put it in their private pocket. Johnny Gava says, to me, all this is just standard of any kit deal. You're using standard teams to boost. How much is the money? Germany is 86 million pounds a year. Now we're talking. Somebody speaking my language. Coyote say, then he went to say nice analysis. Here the one pressure say that trader money was a means to fund the North. I was working with a bank then. We had massive turnout of customers who benefited from it, especially in Kanu. They were actually credited. However, it turn gives them tips. I don't understand. Olaika say, I like this when you educate us on sports business. Thank you, Elegbete. Thank you very much for that. I mean, I like to come here and do banter, get everybody excited. After all, that's what the audience want. That's what will spike my numbers up, right? Somebody said the other day that I should stop doing all these things I'm doing. I should stop being an activist and do like Fans Tribe. I love what Fans Tribe are doing. I love the entire guys there, the crew, everybody that my friends. I love them. I appreciate their growth. It's very, very good. But that's not my project. That's not who I am. You will see me do a few shows like that. But the core of what I do is let my work improve the ecosystem. It's easy, like I always say that it's easy to chase the money for yourself. But you see, when you build an ecosystem, I always look at Alibaba and I say, like, if there's anybody I want to be like, I don't have role models. I want to be myself. I want to be the very, very best version of who God created me to be. But if there's anybody I want to be like, I want to be like Alibaba. I want to be able to point and say, oh, basket mat, AY, TA, this one, that one, that one. I groom them and look at what they are now. Because of the example I set for them, they are also in turn grooming other people, and those people again will other groom other people, and those people will create another group of people like a tree where it's growing up and it's growing downward. All right, simultaneously, everybody grows. That's the ecosystem. And if we don't do that, I just came back from Ghana, and I've got a few minutes. I just came back from Ghana, and I mean, it was a 12 million naira expense on that trip to Ghana. It's crazy, but I had to do it. I pull out everything that I had to make it happen. And every day in Ghana, when I look at the people, Teresa, Joy, Jamil, Kalejai, I look at the team that I took, and then I look at the place we stayed, and then I compare it to where other people are. And I was like, this should be the norm. Like, this should be the basic standard. Like Johnny just said, yeah, this should be the basic standard. But whenever other journalists come to visit us, they look at us like we're in heaven. And I said to them, I keep telling them, I was like, you know what? Nigeria sports, we have lived so much in slavery that now what is basic, and that's what happened with the Nike deal. What is basic, what maybe a BBC would offer to its staff or even its contract staff, it's not like paradise to what people in Nigeria see. And in that kind of case, and I'm going to make a scenario here. Unfortunately, 99.9% of the people here are girls. I mean, are boys. And so there'll be no lady here. But let me say this, and boys, some of you guys would know. Do you know how many girls in our lifetime have been stripped naked and had sex with, not rape, not non-consensual sex, just because a boy is able to take them to Mr. Biggs or ShopRite or cinema for the very first time in their life, or be able to put them in a house that have ACs, and or be able to put them in a car that have ACs, and that exposure automatically brought down their walls, their defense, their firewalls, everything just come down, like this, because they grew up never getting that kind of exposure. I remember, let me say this, it's strange, it's funny, but it just makes me laugh most time when I think about it. I remember I met one girl many years ago, and I took her to a place called Pimos. If you grew up in Warri, there's a hotel called Pimos. It was like it was the Sheraton. It was the Radisson Blue of the era. And we went, and I used to have a platinum membership. They have this platinum, gold, silver, bronze, and like diamond, like that. I was working in Globestar, and there was money wasn't an issue. And I took this girl. We met, and I was like, okay, let's go to Pimos. I go to our place, Okere Road. I picked her up and went to Pimos. Now she lives in Okere Road. Okere Road is just a stone throw from Pimos, but she's never been there. She's never seen life like that. Pimos had this music coming out of something that looks like a rock. It was it was hypnotic. Like people see it and people stand like, "Ooh, music they come for sound, they come out for stone." It was just normal Banks and Olufsen design, B and O, right? And I remember that girl. Now, this is not about the story is not about the girl, but what happened. I remember that girl going home to tell her friends I experienced that day. We didn't have any sexual engagement and the rest. Like 20 of our friends, our mates, she was a nurse, people we should work with, all of them wanted to date me just because of that. PMOS, where you go, waka, go buy meat pie, come out to. So sometimes the lack of exposure of understanding how deals are done will make you collect peanuts, and it could be the proverbial PMOS hotel where little things that you can even afford, the money you have can even afford it, but because you lack knowledge. In one of his books, Steady Jakes wrote in Reposition Yourself, he said, if you people know better, they will do better. We like all this excitement, all this banter a lot. But you see, if we're going to build a Nigeria that we dream of, the Nigeria that we want to be proud of, because I always ask myself, what country am I going to hand over to these children? Because it's very clear, I'm not go jackpot, and the day not go come. So what country am I going to hand over to them? If we do not fight for a country that is good, we're not far off from Syria and Gaza and Eritrea and Somalia. We're just on the precipice. It's just that in our own case, we're still on the green side. We're not on the brown or red side, but we're not far off. We're not like in the off course. We are just very, very close from that kind of life. And it is in matters like this, moments like this, where we're able to turn the table, where we're able to grind the wheel properly and smoothen the powders of production and be able to change the narrative that we can get to the destination that we dream of for our country. And sometimes somebody's got to stand up. Yeah, it doesn't make you a good person. It doesn't make people like you. It makes you look like you are just trying to be a rabble rouser because people come to your show, they want to hear you. But I mean, I can Chelsea and Man United play last night, and you just use it as a passive conversation, and you're talking about kit sponsorship. What's your business? Yeah, I know a lot of people will say that, right? But to be very honest, what is good for Nigeria is way, way more important to me than a million banter, because there's games. Tomorrow there's going to be games again. Man City is going to play Crystal Palace. Arsenal is going to play Brentford. Liverpool is going to play Man United on Sunday, and we're going to have more banters to have. But you see, fixing this thing right, it's like waking up in the morning and taking that 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to dress your bed. That's how the day starts. That's the way my day starts. That 5 minutes when you wake up, stand up, you want to go to the bathroom and urinate, just dress the bed. You will notice something about your being, that once you are able to dress that bed, you can do every other thing properly, because where you rest, where you lay your head, the habit of keeping it tidy would help you tidy up your entire day. They used to ask me when I was in Bella, why don't you come late? Why are you always on time? And I said, because I dress my bed every morning. And they cannot connect the two. I said, but that's it. It's something that I learned. Dress your bed every morning, fold your blanket that you used to cover, put your pillow back in the place where it should be, and you see how it triggers functionality in the rest of your day. It's a very smart thing. That's why my company logo, you will see underneath, right? The little details count. It's like Nike saying, just do it. It's all I do every day. Well, thank you very much. For those of you who are not happy today that I didn't come to banter, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. For those of you who drop comment, thank you very much. And Johnny, I mean, you're not part of this whole project, so we keep saying thank you because it's what is right to be grateful for support. But right now, we see you as a shareholder, and we don't take it for granted. That people watch what you do. First off, they spend their time and their data, which is two very, very precious things, especially the time, which is very precious. And then they still say, you know what, I like to support this person with my money. It's not child play. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate. And this is not just once, it's something you do on a regular basis. Thank you very much for contributing to what we do here. One of the things that I like to say to people is that we will not disappoint you people. We would do our best. I'm sure you're proud of our coverage of the African Games. We will try again. We'll retrieve all this money that you are sending are part of the money that help us to go to Ghana to go and cover the African Games the way we did. So when you somebody have asked me one day, all this money are giving you, what are you doing with them? Well, part of it is uh, what we used to buy for to run this company. And again, part of it that is left there is what we used to go to Ghana. We'll have to now wait again to stockpile because we've depleted everything. But we'll have to wait again, stockpile, and see the next event that we'll go to. But having said that, it's time for me to pack my bags and baggages and leave. My name is Idafe Mathias. You love to come media Lagos on sports. I like to say this all the time, and I will never get tired of saying it. I might add something to it, but I'll keep saying it. The goal is always be the problem solver. That's what God created us here on earth to be. Now, there are people who can't. Sometimes you can't be Moses, try and be Aaron. If you cannot be Aaron, try and be Miriam. You would make mistake. You will build a golden calf, but don't be the problem. Don't be the Pharaoh. In other words, if you can't be the solution, please don't be the problem. And even if you're not the solution, don't stand in the way of those who are bringing the solution. A very good example, they are doing a road through your community. Don't join boys to go and block road and say, if you don't pay community development levy, we're not going to let you come. The company where they do that road, no, they stay your community. Let them do that road. You will have increase in your value in your properties, the value of properties and access and everything will be better. And it goes beyond that. Schools, it goes beyond that. Electricity project and a whole lot. Don't be the problem. Please be the solution. And if you can't be the solution, don't stand in the way of those who are the solution. God bless you and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.